Welcome to today's show. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, everyone. Hey, hey, hey. What's going on? Welcome to a new show, new conversation. Hello. How's everyone doing? Come on in, come on in, grab a seat, come on in. Let's have a quick conversation. It's a new week, so I am excited to talk to you guys. How's everyone doing? I hope you're doing well. Without further delay, I need to get the house rules out the way. Don't forget that like button. It's sitting right there. Alongside it, there's a share button. And most importantly, make sure you have clicked the subscribe button and have been a part of the conversation. Hey, Rob, it's good to see you in the conversation. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What is everybody's doing? How was everybody's weekend? Hope everybody's weekend was well. How was your weekend? Child, mine was good, but it's a whole new week. And I can't wait to expound on my thoughts about today's show. But what a weekend. Not too bad, not too bad. Okay, look, you already know the house rules. If you're new, please do us a favor. Whoa. Hello, stranger. Long time no see. I'm thinking this is the fashion designer in the building, but may not be. I'm not recognizing the name, so it says Alice. Hello, Alice. Welcome. Please tell me where you're from. And again, I'm glad to see you here. If you are new to the show, please do me a favor. Click that subscribe button. Make sure you're part of the conversation every week, Monday at 6 o'clock, where we are getting down in the conversation. Also, don't be afraid of that share button and that like button. It tells me that you are grooving with the conversation. Even if you don't like something that's said, the comments are open for you to share that. I just ask that everyone do it respectfully and consider inviting other people to the show. Don't come alone. Oh, I know exactly who that is. Hello, my love. That's my baby who got a baby. Okay. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that everyone is here. You would think I would know that name. But anyway, I'm just hoping that everybody is here to have a good conversation and just, expound on what it is that we're talking about today. So thank you. Glad you're here. Look. I want to talk about this, something I think is worth talking about. And I don't think that we talk about this enough. So let me just make sure Hold on here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I want to talk about this new chapter that we're in, right? So we are in 9 days into the new year. And last week we talked about a really good conversation. And I'm thinking it's worth talking about the next phase of this conversation. And I think that you would agree with me if you are in a space of starting a new chapter. If you're not in the space of starting a new chapter, the likelihood is that you're not going to be connecting the dots that I'm trying to set up for you. So work with me and try to connect those dots, because I'm telling you, they will work in your favor. Okay, let's look at something here. Okay, now, so connecting the dots and, just making things kind of transition a little bit more easy, a little bit more seamless for you. And what I want to talk to you about is cutting the ties that bind you, which was last week, right? Setting yourself free from the ball and chain. And actually today, starting and writing a new chapter in your life. Starting and writing a new chapter in your life. Just take a moment. If you're watching today's show, you're thinking about what I'm saying. I want you to think about, have you experienced anything close or remotely close to what you was experiencing the last week of 2022? Do you still feel some of that baggage, that weight currently today, 9 days into the new year? If you are experiencing that, this is the conversation I want to have with you. And that is starting and writing a new chapter in your life. Many people cannot write a new chapter because they keep reliving the old chapter. And reliving the old chapter, they get the same outcome. The same outcome. We should not be getting the same experience 9 days into the new year. Some of these things may look similar, but I'm telling you, if you are still feeling the same way you was experiencing in 2022, 9 days into the new year, you need to kind of erase some lines if you're writing out your chapter and rewrite it. Rewrite it, because something is not adding up. Something's not, you're missing something. And if you continue to miss something, what you're going to end up doing is repeating what you experienced throughout the last year. Let me slow the conversation down and tell you how I came about this. Now, again, I said the ball and chain last week, setting yourself free. And this year, we're talking about writing new chapters in our lives. And a lot of people I talk to, I've experienced in the work I do, and especially as a motivational speaker and life coach, I realize many people are just reliving the same story, getting the same results, which is really for them no results. And it has become redundant to them to the point that they just feel like, what's the sense of just doing this, being here, and not having something different happen? And when I ask the question, well, what it is that you are doing different, oftentimes they can't tell me what they're doing different. Therefore, they can't write any new chapters for themselves because they're doing the same thing. Nothing's changed. If you're following me on Instagram, and if you're not, I encourage you to follow me on Instagram at Voices Gathering. You'll see the Daily Gym. And I said, you are the CEO of your life. You are the CEO of your life. If you're not walking in that authority, you can't overcome the obstacles in your life. You're waiting for other people to remove those obstacles in your life. You're just not getting it. You're not getting it that it's not them, it's you. It's you who write the chapters. It's you who erase the mistakes. It's you who start the beginning. It's you who end the end. It's all you. You are in control. You are. I, I want to say to you that I was also more in tune to have this conversation because I was doing some research on writing new chapters. And for the self-entitled, there is a time for everything. So I'm like saying to myself, okay, how do I get people who are watching the show to understand that there is a time for everything? And in doing that, I was doing my homework, researching, really just trying to understand it, because for me, I believe there's a time for everything. And it was more clear to me when I kept searching. Everything happens for a reason. And I'm looking and looking. And what kept popping up was, don't run for those who are not into the Bible, because I'm not here to teach you about the Bible. I reference the Bible because that's the best book that's ever been written. That's my opinion. However, when I kept researching for today's show, the same thing on all these search engines kept coming up. As much as I wanted to kind of just step away in a different direction, because I wanted to have your attention for those who are not Bible scholars, those who don't follow scriptures, those who are not looking for spiritual growth. I wanted to make the conversation light and engaging without scaring some of those who think that we're about to have Sunday school or Bible lesson. Although I'm not ashamed of that. And what kept popping up for me was Ecclesiastes chapter 3. And I'm saying to myself, okay, well, let me just put that to the side and look for other things. I changed my wording around, and everything I kept putting in about writing your new chapter, Ecclesiastes chapter 3 kept popping up. So I stayed with that, and I started looking, okay, well, what is it that I'm supposed to see in this write-up that happens to be in the Bible? And when I'm talking about writing a new chapter, because it's a new year and everything happens for a reason, I want you to hear what I found, or actually, should I say, it found me. And it was very much this. And we'll break it down a little bit in this conversation. So in this, my title was There's a Time for Everything. And of course, in the English Translation Bible, it stated that a time for everything. I'm like, okay, well, that's confirmation for my show topic. However, how do I make it more suitable and entertaining in a way of engaging for the audience? And this is what came out of just reading that. It says that in chapter 3 in Ecclesiastes, it says there's a time for everything, a season for every activity under the heavens. Stay with me. Okay. There's a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. And that went from verse 1 to verse 8. So I'm saying this is exactly what I need. I needed this because I want us to break this down over a series of conversations throughout this month in regards to there's a time for everything. Many of you are stuck. Many of you are stuck in old chapters of your life. You're stuck. You're looking for something to be birthed out of an old chapter when that chapter has already been written and lived. And I'm asking you, what sense does that make? What sense does it make to continue to play the old same song in your life and not experience something different? Think about the question. What sense does that make? If you're looking for something new to happen in your life, why are you still reliving the same old thing? Why are you stuck in a place you know it's just unhappy? It's not fruitful. It's not giving you anything that you want. Why do you continue to reside there? Don't you understand that when someone say that you are the person who controls the narrative of your life? And I'm not meaning in the spiritual sense, because truth be told, I don't think we actually control any of that. I think we're given an authority to make decisions. However, the consequences of those decisions are ours. We have the autonomy to make whatever decision we want, good, bad, or indifferent. But the question becomes, why are you still living an old, unfulfilling chapter? Let's reference this. Look at social media. And social media is always going to be talked about on this show because my platform is on social media. But does this social media that you constantly continue to watch fill you? Are you able to extract information, experiences, whatever it is from those chapters of social media, home environment, work environment, relationships with other people, those into new chapters? Are you able to do that? Because if you're not able to do that, then again, going back to, you should be writing a new chapter. You should be writing a new chapter. I see your hands clapping, Alice. And speaking of authors, I just want to give a shout out to Alice in the chat. This young woman is becoming a great author of poetry. Her book is on Amazon. Do me a favor, all of you who will watch this show, do me a huge favor. Please, first, Alice, please write the name of your book in the chat for the viewers who will watch the show or hear. If you want to tell them how they can get their hands on the book, that would also be great. But look for greater things coming from her because she's really a great poet. And when talking about writing new chapters in your life, she's doing just that. She's writing new chapters and she's inspiring other people to write their own chapter. So once again, it's funny because she wasn't here at the last show and here she is in today's show. And this is just a confirmation of why this topic is so important. So Alice, drop your information in the comments so that people can support you and your book. And then, continue to do the work that you're set to do. I can't wait to see greater things come from you. But getting back to what we're talking about, and that's you, those of you writing your own chapters. I personally had to write chapters in my life, and I'm still writing them. I don't think that as long as you're living, you'll never stop writing chapters in your life. You're going to always be writing something. And for some people, that's literally writing something down. And, it's very cathartic to write down your thoughts. Write them down. Sometimes writing them down and burning them, especially when you're done with them and they just don't produce any good fruit. It's probably a good idea to break the ties that bind you in those chapters and set yourself free. So for some people, I would really encourage you to go to your fire pit, your fireplace, go to a safe place where you can light a fire, write that thing that's troubling you down and set it ablaze and just free yourself and get yourself in a position of writing the new chapter of your life. Just start writing your new chapter. Some people came into the new year writing new chapters from closing a chapter of marriage to divorce. Some people close some chapters from being single into marriage. Many people I'm aware of have written new chapters in their life by giving up old chapters as it relates to their jobs and not being fulfilled on those jobs. Some people are writing new chapters in their life with setting themselves free from old relationships or unfruitful relationships that don't build them but tear them down. Some people wrote new relationship chapters when it came to their family. They cut those people off, or they were cut off. They were actually cut off. And that was the beginning of a new chapter. We oftentimes see those things that's happening to us or around us as bad and just all way round horrible. But I'm letting you know that's not the case. That's not the case. For you to have a new experience, you need to have gone through a birthing process of an old experience. Life is always a new birthing opportunity. We are not meant to be in a space of complexity and just stuck. You were not created for that. We all were created for greater things. If you don't believe me, get in a space of quietness. For those who are connected to a higher power, I am connected to a higher power. I call him God. And for some of you, that may be you may call him something else. Whatever it is, get into that space and getting connected. Find a way to get connected to your higher source, your higher power. And extract from that. Put yourself in alignment where you can be used and you can hear what your life purpose is, so that as you write it, you can start living it. Mental health has always been an issue. Always. Mental health has always been an issue. We didn't just come due to COVID and start saying, oh my gosh, we are experiencing mental health issues. No. That's not true. We had not just automatically started experiencing mental health stressors in our lives. There has always been some form of mental health stressors. There's always been some form of challenges for people in their life. Always, from the beginning of time. Since man was created and on this land, there has always been life challenges. And for the most part, some people are strong and able to face those adversities, and there are other people who just can't face them. They don't know how to face the adversities in their life, so what they end up doing is they just say, you know what, I can't do this, so they check out. They check out mentally, physically, and for a sad part, many just take their lives and just totally check out. We weren't built for that. We weren't built to check out. We're conquerors. We are people who are very strong. And I'm talking across all ethnic races. Because every race, of every ethnicity, every gender has all experienced some form of adversity. But you are greater than your adversity. You are truly greater than your adversity. Whatever you face, it's but for a moment. If you think that what you're facing today is the end be all, then clearly, again, this conversation about writing a new chapter is for you. You have to also write some people out of your chapters and write in new people. You have to write out old finances in old chapter and write in new finances. We have the ability and the power to manifest what we want in our lives. The Bible says that there is power in the tongue. The Bible also talks about bridling our tongue. Do you know that your tongue is the deadliest weapon ever? Ever. Your tongue is deadly. It's deadly not to just others. It's deadly to you. It will kill everything you could ever think of. Everything you ever dreamed of, your tongue can wipe it with just one word. Just one word. We have to be careful about how we speak what we say, and most importantly, what we think. Because when you're not thinking positive, but thinking negative, from that negative thinking come a negative outcome, a negative experience, therefore a negative chapter. Some people chapters are long and some people chapters are shorter. But whether it be long or shorter, is it negative or positive? Are you a Debbie Downer living a negative experience? Are you a person who just see everything gray and black, dark and gloomy, unfruitful, hatred? If you are that person, or if you're surrounded around that environment, and I'm sorry to say this, but not. If your home environment is that toxic, there's no way you can birth a new chapter in your life. You can't do it. The environment is not cultivating that experience for you. Therefore, you can't live it. You can't live it. You can't write it. You can't experience. You can't dream it. You just can't. You can't. Here's another thing I was thinking of. So I happen to, everything comes if you are a person who's writing positive chapters in your life, if you're connected to a higher source in your life, if you're paying attention to the life experiences, you will find out that things will become aligned for you and start making sense. I say all that to say I was watching television last night as I had prepared for preparing for today's show. And I was watching this little series that's on Netflix. But as I got ready to watch the next one, the menu came up and made some suggestions of things I might want to watch. And Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's docuseries it was on. I think it's 6 conversations they're having via Netflix. And Prince Harry wrote his memoir called Spare. If I'm not mistaken, please look it up. But I think it's called Spare. And I'm telling you this because as I was thinking about today's show, I'm thinking about, okay, new chapters. And there was an opportunity for me to watch Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's. And truth be told, I'm not really into them like that. I think their journey to where they are is very interesting. And therefore, I decided to watch. Well, let me see what they're talking about. And when you talk about the environment not conducive to you writing new chapters, if you don't believe me, trust me when I say that this is exactly what Prince Harry was talking about, or is talking about how his environment did not cultivate writing new chapters in his life. So he had to make a decision that he's going to write a new chapter and he's going to erase some old ones. To the point that he left his country, came to America, married a woman that was totally not supposed to be for him, and started his family. And he was unapologetic about it. So I smile about that, and I'm telling you that because I was saying to myself, well, wait a minute. This is becoming more and more clear. This conversation is not going to resonate with everybody. Everybody is not going to want to hear me talk about writing a new chapter, and there's a time for everything. Some people are going to find this conversation quite boring for them because what they're looking for to be stimulated by is probably toxicity, a toxic relationship experience, entertainment, whatever it is. They're more entertained by that than finding a way to find the peace within them and learning how to write new chapters in their life so they can start experiencing them. Some people just not looking for that. Some people thrive on negativity. They do. They believe they're thriving, but truth be told, if you turn the chapters of their lives and start looking at it, you will see there's no thriving there. There's no way to thrive in a toxic place. You can't get fruit to grow out of contaminated soil. You can't. Nothing is going to be birthed out of that, grow out of that. Nothing. Nothing at all. What you will find is that every time you try to harvest your fruits that you believe that you've planted, you end up finding out that, well, I can't harvest nothing, and everything that I'm harvesting it doesn't bear good fruit. It doesn't produce anything worth holding on to. You have to figure out, viewers, how to write a new chapter in your life so that you can live a chapter that's worth living. You have to be okay. Learn how to be okay. Start writing down steps on how to be okay by cutting off what hurts you, what doesn't cause you any good, doesn't promote you, doesn't see your worth. Always come with a negative thing. Listen, if every time you talk to someone, they have something negative to say, that is a chapter that you might want to start erasing and writing anew. You just might want to do that. We got one life. As I read to you in Ecclesiastes 3, this says there's a time to be born and a time to die. There's a time for that. It's going to happen. But is it more important to figure out how to live a life worth living than to be focused on all the negativity and then end up dying? Why are we wasting time doing nothing with the life we are given? Why are we sitting in places surrounded around people who just can't make any sense of what we believe we are entitled to have? And that's joy and happiness. For some. And I'm referencing those some because those are the people. I'm talking to everyone. But I'm a person who life matters to me, and what I do with my life matters. For some people, they would say I'm kind of very I can become very consumed with doing my very best and living the best life. But I think that's a good place for me. It may not be for you, but for me, that's a good place. Be consumed with trying to live the best life so that you end up living the best life. I don't want to always be trying. I think trying is the step to doing, becoming, living. If you are just living a life that's unfruitful and it's not turning into anything, do something different. Do something different. Why aren't you experiencing a new? Why? Why aren't you? Why aren't you? If Oprah Winfrey can come from poverty, and she's a black woman, first and foremost, before she's a billionaire, Oprah was a baby, a toddler, a young girl, a young woman, a grown woman. She was poor. She had some money. She had greater money. She has big money. It's not impossible for people, and I'm not talking about becoming a billionaire. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about it's not impossible for you to come from where you are to where you want to be. You just have to place yourself in a position and on a path to becoming. That's what you have to do. See, becoming won't happen for you. You have to be in a position of allowing it to happen. You just have to. You have to. If you want something greater, then you have to put yourself in a position of getting greater. Here's the thing. I also saw something else I wanted to just read to you really quickly as I was doing my homework. I was looking at npr.org, it's a website, and this website talked about here's what 2023 has in store as it was predicted by experts in 1923, which was 100 years ago. And check it out. It said, forego flying cars. When scientists and Scientologists in 1923 offered a prediction for what life might look like 100 years from then, their vision was more along the lines of curly-haired men, 4-hour workdays, 300-year-old people, and watch-size radio telephones. That's what they were kind of predicting 100 years ago. And when you think about it, it further stated that they included projections about population growth and life expectancies, trends in personal hygiene, advance in industries from travel to healthcare, and even some meta-musing future journalisms in itself. So 100 years ago, they were already predicting and writing chapters to plan to get to. Now, that doesn't mean that those people 100 years ago was expecting to be here now. But let's check this out. It is not impossible for a person to live 100 years. We know that, right? People are living longer now. Longer. But the question becomes, what was the chapters they were writing? Did they live those chapters in their life? And at the end of their chapter, was it fulfilled? When I think about Betty White, who lived to be, I think, 99 years old or 100, I think she lived to be 99. I would say yes. I would say yes. So many others I could reference who lived a very long life and lived the life that they carved out for themselves. And when you think about people saying to you, well, nothing good comes out of this life. Nothing great could happen for me in this life. I'm not meant to have greatness out of this life. I'm like, who are you talking to? And why do you think so negative about the life you want? Of course you're not going to have it because you don't even have the mindset to execute it. Greatness only comes from people who think great. Happiness only comes from people who think happy. And abundance life only come from those people who are thinking that. If you want a different experience, you got to start thinking different. Go back to Oprah. I remember Oprah when I used to watch Oprah's show. Oh gosh, when I was watching Oprah's show, child, as a teenager because I was just like, oh, she's doing what I want to do. And I'm doing some of that. Let's be very clear so y'all can hate. But I'm doing that. I'm on this little podcast, this little engine that could. Everybody got to start someplace. Now, I'm not trying to be the next Oprah. I'm trying to be the best Diamond. Let's be clear. I'm not trying to be Oprah. There's only one Oprah Winfrey. Only one. And there will always only be one Oprah Winfrey. Now, somebody may have the same name, but there's only one Oprah Winfrey, as there's only one me. So my desire is not to walk in the shoes of Oprah Winfrey. Although I remember that time she had that garage sale, and I remember this woman came on the show and talked about how when she was having bad days and she was just in a place of just sadness, she remembered purchasing from an auction that Oprah had a pair of shoes. And although she could not fit Oprah's shoes, anytime she felt sad, she put herself into Oprah's shoes. And she just started to believe that things were possible for her. Whatever it takes, do it. Just do it. Get into a place, in a position, start laying out the chapters in your life and start doing it. Do it. What's holding you from doing it? What's holding you? What's stopping you? The only thing that can stop you is you. Even if people at the door, wherever you go to, wherever you are at, tell you, no, you can't, this is impossible, we don't have anything for you, you need to keep a mindset that, yeah, this can happen for me It just won't be by you. You won't be the one doing that. You won't be the one opening the door. You won't be the one that's laying out the carpet for me. But this is possible. I can do this. Every time I come on my show, and there's 2 people in the comments right now while we're live, just 2. I'm looking at the number, and one of those numbers is me. Let's be very honest. In the beginning of my show, I was just like, oh, I can't do this. I can't. And I'm like, oh, no. They go to trickery of the mind. So I started with the support of loved ones. I started erasing those things. I'm like, oh, let me erase this. Ooh, erase this. Get this off this. Get this off this. This chapter is starting to turn a different way. I mean, I'm telling you, I've been there. You heard me say before, I remember just taking this whole studio, and you can't see the studio, but the studio is nice. I put a lot of money into the studio, and I packed this studio up so fast one time and just put it in storage. It was like, I'm going to do something else. I'm not going to do this podcast thing. Because this is not going to work for me. People are not supporting me the way I want them to. I'm just not going to do this. And my significant other said to me, every time I reference this, I say, he was like, oh no, get that stuff up out of that storage and put it back there. And I never say exactly what he says, but it was just choice words. And he was like, just get that, all kind of cursing, out of that storage and get it back into the studio, set it back up and do something different. He clearly was like, he didn't use the words write a new chapter. He used the metaphor of do something different. What you was doing wasn't working, but you want to do the show. People were showing up to the show, so do it different. And as I went through my tantrum and tearing myself apart, I did exactly what he suggested. I did what I am built for, because I'm just not a person who give up. Right, Alice. I'm not a person who gives up. I just don't. I may have a moment, and you're human, so you're going to have moments. You're going to have them. Just know you're going to have them. Forget never having a moment. You're going to have it. And I was having a moment, and once I went through my moment, also with the push and support of him, I just was like, okay, well, let me pull this stuff out. And I had to go back into the studio, rearrange things, put things back in its place, and get back to work. And had to spend more money and invest in more technology and all those different things and just do something different. I just had to do something different. And I did. And streaming became better. More lighting became brighter. Just things in the studio was like, okay, backdrops and all kind of little goodies started working out. And what I know about that was I wasn't patient with me. I was putting too much pressure on me to actually follow through. I was trying to execute excellence and perfection when I was just starting and getting my feet under me. And there were some people that were supporting me. They were. I just, life happens, and, the numbers are, as far as subscribers and people liking the show, they're going to be what they're going to be, right? But my job is here's a chapter of mine. My job is to bring content of substance, not run the race of numbers against other people. I would love for my numbers to be greater. I would love for you guys to click that share button. I would love for people to like the show and get more subscribers. I would love that, because with that becomes financial support to the show through YouTube. They pay you to get numbers. But I know, truth be told, my purpose, my chapters in my life are greater than these numbers. They are. They're greater. My chapters are greater than the numbers. Now, in everything, there's a season. Going back to Ecclesiastes chapter 3. There's a time for everything. And we all go through seasons. We go through bad seasons in our lives. We go through good seasons in our lives. We go through heartaches in our lives. We go through death in our lives. We go through birth. We go through all kind of seasons. For many of us, those seasons are very different for a lot of people. And for others, a lot of our seasons are very similar. Everyone has experienced a season of death, losing a loved one. Everybody has experienced a season of heartbreak at some point in a relationship. If you live long enough, you've dated, you've had some heartbreak. Everyone has experienced, if you ever had a job, being disappointed on a job. We all have. We all have gone through similar seasons in our lives. It's about overcoming them. A baby can't be born unless it goes through the birthing process. The metaphor of that is greatness in your life can't come to fruition until you go through the birthing process of that thing you're trying to give birth to. Right now, I'm trying to birth a great podcast with substance, relevancy. There's going to be fun conversations, and there's going to be heartfelt conversations. There're going to be educational conversations. There're going to be laughters and games on the show. This podcast is well versed, and many things we're going to be talking about. So I understand even more every day that this little engine that will go through a birthing process, and in that will come greatness. Alice, being an author, a young author, writing her first book, getting a book deal, she needs support. The more people buy her book, the more people talk about the book, becomes a birthing process for her to do greater things in her career. And all of you that will watch this show, there is a birthing process for you. It's your job to write the chapters of your life, be clear and intentional, place yourself in an environment that will cultivate your birthing process so that you can reach where you're trying to go or execute and get that thing under you. It's there for you. You just got to want it and do it. You just got to want it and do it. Nothing's too hard for you. The only way it becomes hard for you to execute is when you say, I can't. And we're not walking with that narrative on this show. So that's the conversation today, guys. Right to the point. You can do anything you want if you put your mind, heart, and soul to it. Write new chapters. If you stagnated in the old ones, erase and start anew. Every day you wake up and you take your breath, your morning breath. Thank God you are covered when you're sleeping and not even aware you're breathing. You're just breathing. But when you wake up in the morning and you open your eyes to a new day, that is a new day for a new chapter. Start sowing seeds in your own life that you can harvest later in your life that are of substance. Greatness comes from you dedicating yourself to being great. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is, small or big. Set your mind to writing chapters of greatness and start living them. It's yours. You are the CEO of your life. So start living like that. I thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to talk to you. Thank you for sticking around. Click the share button and share this show on your platforms, your Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and all those things. Start just doing that. And mentioning of those, we are there. In all those spaces, this show is there. All you got to do is type in the name and you'll find the show. It's right there. We're right there. Just we're on all this right here. So please start going to those places, be a subscriber. Also, check out the website www.voicesgathering.com. It's in the bio of this show. It's in all the shows. You can check out everything. Look out for good merchandise that's going to be coming. I'm smiling because I omitted to tell you guys something. Just look out for great things coming. I got some really great chapters that I'm writing for this show in this new year, and with your help, I'm going to be able to meet them. And I looked at the numbers. I have 295 subscribers, which is so funny, which means 2 people joined the show from this morning, because this morning there was 293 subscribers. So to those 2 new subscribers, thank you. And to all those who are subscribers, I hope that you will come back to the show, support the show, and just watch what we're doing in the new year. All right, let me see. I want to just comment a couple things that I'm seeing. All right. So Alice's book is called Mind Splatter, and I believe you can get the book on Amazon. Is that correct, Alice? Please let us know where we can get the book at. Also, let's just see a couple comments. All things are at the right time. This show was meant for me to hear, and I'm listening. Okay, Alice, I hear you, and sweetheart, you are on a great path. You're on a great path. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay encouraged and keep your mind and chapters on the prize. It's coming. Just be patient with yourself. The right path sometimes you just have to, the right path. Sometimes you just have to alter the transportation. Yes. Very good saying.
Someone was detected.
Very much good saying. You're absolutely right. Very point. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Yes, Rob, look at me now. I'm doing great things and will continue to do great things. And just be patient with myself. And when I'm experiencing something that frustrates me, acknowledge the frustration and start writing a new chapter. Don't ignore it. It just manifests. It just fester. So, I hear you. Allowing yourself grace is a lot harder than giving someone else grace sometimes. It is absolutely true, Alice. You're right about that. And I oftentimes talk about first, put your own mask on. I always use this metaphor when I'm in clinical sessions with people. I always say to them, if you're flying on a plane and you have precious loved ones flying with you, and that plane becomes distressed, and that air mask falls, your job is not to put their mask on first. Your job is to put your own mask on first so that you can help them in the process. First you, then them. Yes. Okay. So Alice put in the comments here that her book is available on Amazon and Kindle. So please, buy it for a gift for someone else. Buy it for yourself. It's the little book that could, and that is doing. So please support her. And then come back to the show and tell us what you think about Mind Splatter. You won't be disappointed. I was reading it and I'm like, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. And you can see she's also very insightful. Just that one, and I love it. And hashtag this. It's long, but the right path, sometimes you just have to alter the transportation. Love it. And that's a good way to end the show. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. I appreciate your time. I hope I will see you next week. Just know that we can't do it without you. And with you, we can do everything. So keep coming back every Monday at 6 o'clock. Be a part of the conversation. Share this information with someone else. And let's start, getting greater things out of this platform. All right, guys. Until next week, I'll see you. Be good, be well, be blessed. Bye.